Madam Deputy Speaker, it's NAIDOC Week 2020 and the theme of this year's NAIDOC Week is always was, always will be Aboriginal land. And I think it's important, if we're going to have a matter of public importance debate in here today, that we recognise we are standing on the land of the Palawa Pakana people. It was never ceded, Madam Deputy Speaker, and that is a truth that this Parliament needs to understand and work towards resolving, Madam Deputy Speaker. It galls me that we're having a debate about land tax, which has a point I have yet to discern from Mr O'Byrne, at the start of NAIDOC Week, Madam Speaker. We're on Aboriginal land. There has not been true reconciliation. Land returns have stalled, Madam Deputy Speaker. There has been no significant return of lands for almost 20 years, Madam Deputy Speaker. We are no further advanced on negotiating a treaty with the First Tasmanians. We still, in too many parts of this island and this country, celebrate the 26th of January, which is a day regarded by Aboriginal people as Invasion Day, and rightly so. We still do not have dedicated seats in the Tasmanian Parliament, Madam Deputy Speaker, and as a member of the inquiry that was established to look at the House of Assembly Restoration Bill, I know you, Madam Deputy Speaker, would support dedicated seats in the Tasmanian Parliament for the Palawa Pakana people, and I simply reinforce to the House that it was a unanimous, tripartisan recommendation to the Parliament that we work towards dedicated seats for Tasmanian Aboriginal people. It would be a start, Madam Deputy Speaker. And it might refine our thinking a little bit so that when there is NAIDOC Week, we have a debate in this place about how far we have yet to go towards true reconciliation, the steps we need to take, Madam Deputy Speaker, the truths that we need to hear, Madam Deputy Speaker, the land we need to give back, the special dates we need to change, Madam Deputy Speaker. This always was, and it always will be, Aboriginal land. And the Parliament of Tasmania should permanently fly the Aboriginal flag. I note that it is up this week, Madam Deputy Speaker, but surely the Tasmanian Parliament should acknowledge that. The Parliament needs to raise the flag and keep it up, Madam Deputy Speaker. So on the question of land tax, it reminds me of growing up on Stradbroke Island, Minjerribah, Stradbroke Island, home of the Quandamooka people, where the locals were priced out of the island because land values went up so far and so fast that low-income people just couldn't afford to stay on the island. And we have to be very careful here in Tasmania, where we're not a wealthy state, and for many Tasmanians, their wealth is in their shack, Madam Deputy Speaker. Now, we recognise that this is the system we've got, and the land tax rates that have been set and applied this year are what are in place. But if the government can provide relief to small businesses for land tax, why can't there be some gesture of relief to property owners, Madam Deputy Speaker? And I wanted to read into the Hansard some correspondence from my constituent, Mr Appleby of Sandy Bay. I'm writing this letter in the fervent hope that residential landlords might be spared the manifestly excessive increase in land tax for the 2021 financial year, and I wish to add my voice to others who've already raised this issue. Land values have been rising consistently in Tasmania for a number of years, and it would appear that I and many others have now been catapulted into the highest land tax bracket. Due to the highly regressive nature of the land tax table, this has caused a catastrophic increase in my land tax assessment, which has risen by 46% this year after a 25% increase last year. This constitutes a significant financial impost which will cause me and others considerable hardship at this very trying time. This comes at a time when residential leases have been temporarily invalidated by emergency measures imposed by the state government. This means that 1, I'm unable to increase rents. 2, I'm unable to evict tenants, even when they refuse to pay their rent. 3, any tenant can refuse to pay rent, even if not affected financially by the pandemic. I'm encouraged to negotiate with tenants for lower rents where necessary. I've negotiated a lower rent with one tenant and renewed a lease with another at the same rate, and thus I'm already facing a significantly reduced income for this financial year. This is despite my costs, rates, land tax, water rates, insurance, to name a few, increasing significantly. I am a fully self-funded retiree, relying on 2 streams of income. These are shares and property rentals. This has resulted in a significant reduction to my income. I'd also like to point out that I've received not 1 cent of assistance from the federal government. Ms O'Connor, I fervently hope you will give my financial situation and that of others in a similar position due consideration and lobby the government to support the reversal deferment of the land tax increases for the 2021 financial year and lobby to revise the structure of the land tax rates to reflect the increased land values which now apply in Tasmania. And of course, like many members in this place, Madam Deputy Speaker, that's only one piece of correspondence I've received from a constituent in relation to their shock when they opened their land tax bill this year, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'd simply urge the Premier and Treasurer to consider whether there is any relief that can be provided to land tax bills in this year, because all across the community people are suffering, people have been dealt financial impacts, and government should be able to adjust its policy somehow in order to provide a measure of assistance.